Well guys, in the previous video we answered that Tn, the nth term of an AP, can be given as a plus n minus 1 into d. We derived this equation, right? And we also know that a is supposed to be the first term, we know that, and d is a common difference. It is nothing but the difference between any two consecutive terms. It can be like t2 minus t1, or t3 minus t2, or t4 minus t3, or in general tn minus tn minus 1. So that is the common difference, right? Good enough. And also we know that we can find the second term if at all we know the first term. Let's say the first term is a, the next term is nothing but adding d to the first term, okay, a plus d. And if you know what is t2, you can find the third term by adding another d to the second term, or I can just write a plus 2d to get the third term. Alright, so you keep adding d to the particular term, you get the next term. That's all about it. And if you have to go to the previous term, subtract d from that. That is what we understood, right? Good enough. So let's go back ahead and see how to solve this guy. It says write the next three terms of an AP whose first term is given to me. What's given to me is a, which is like 11. We can also call this as t1 is 11, the first term, and the common difference d is given to me as like 1.5. So we know that to find the next three terms, it means I'm looking for t2, which is nothing but the first term plus d. We can use this formula, no problem. So it goes like t2 is like, first term is nothing but 11 plus d is like 1.5. It goes like t2 is nothing but 12.5. We got it. Now if you know what is t2, you can find the next term t3 like t2 plus d, no problem. Alright, you can find the next term if you know the previous term. So if you know t2 and d, you can find it off. We'll do in both the ways. So t3 is basically t2, which is like 12.5 plus d. That goes like, you add this guy, d is nothing but given to me like 1.5. So 1.5, that goes like 13, 14, right? t3 is 14. Now similarly, can you find t4? Yes, t4 you can find if you know what is t3. t3 plus d is t4, nothing much. Okay, if I don't know t3, then I cannot find that. So if I know what is t3, that is like 14. So t4 is like 14 plus 1.5 is like 15.5. We got t4. So we got the next three terms which you wanted. We got t2 is like 12.5, t3 is like 14, and t4 is like 15.5. Can we do the same thing in any other way? Yes, we can. Look at that. We have another formula, a set of formulas. If you know t1, you can find t2, t3, and t4 using these guys, right? So t1 is nothing but a, t2 is like a plus d. A is nothing but t1. t1 plus d is what I'm looking for. Look at that, t1 plus d or a plus d, it's all the same. That's how you find t2, isn't it? So if you're working on what is given to your book, that's how you should work on. Let's go ahead. t2 is simply given as a plus d. All right, on 1d, if 2 here is 1d. So a is nothing but 11 plus 1.5, it's like 12.5. We got this guy, right? t2 is 12.5. Now what is t3? If you have a 3 here, then I take a plus 2d. That's it. So if there's a 2 here, there's 1 less. According to that formula, t3 is a plus 2d. Got it? So a was what? A was given to me as 11 plus 2 times d is like 1.5. You get what? 11 plus 3, which is like 14, which is my third term. Got it? Yes. Which is same as we found here, right? t3 is like 14. We can either do like this, that if you know t2, you can find t3 as t2 plus d, or we can find t3 with the formula we know that a plus 2d. Anything is fine. So we get t4 now, which is like a plus 3d. Why 3 here? Because this number is 4. This has to be 1 less than 4, nothing much. Alright, so we understand this. What is a? A is simply 11 plus, this is 3 times 1.5. What do you get? You get 11 plus, I can write 4.5, which is like 15.5. That's all about it. If not these two ways, there's another way of doing it. Simple as that. Let's try that way also. Let's know how all possible ways we can solve this problem. Alright, you should know that the formula of Tn is like a plus n minus 1 into d, isn't it? Yes. So if I know that the first term is given to me as this, that is t1, and d was like 1.5, I'm looking for the next three terms. I already know what is t1, so I'm looking for t2. Then I just write here 2 means n is 2 here, so a is how much? Is 11 plus n is like how much? 2 minus 1 times d, and d is what? D is also given to me. D is like 1.5. Got it. So you can write 11 plus 2 minus 1 is like 1 times 1.5 is like 11 plus 1.5 is like 12.5. So I can use the direct formula now. T2, we got it. Okay, to use that formula you just need 3 things. To find any term, you need to know what is a, you know what is n, and what is d. If you know these 3 things, you can solve all the problems in arithmetic progressions. Okay, look at that. Again, come back. I need T2 done. I need T3. For T3, I need what? A plus n minus 1 into d. Now, when I say T3, it simply says that n is 3. Got it? A is anyway given to me as 11, and d is also given to me as 1.5. So the only thing what I wanted is 3. For the third term, n is 3. Can I find third term? Yes, T3 is like 11 plus, I can write 3 minus 1 times 1.5. So that goes like 11 plus 3 minus 1 is like 2 times 1.5, which goes like what? 11 plus 3, which is like 14. We got the same answer. See, look at that. We got T3 as the same answer, 14. Simple as that. Right, let's say we go with the next term. I found T2 and I found T3. I'm looking for T4. That is like a plus n minus 1 into d is my formula for Tn. When I say T4, I simply say n is 4, a is given to me as 11, d is the same thing. So a is like 11 and d is like 1.5. Alright, just keep this in mind. In that formula, let's say Tn here. In that formula, there are 4 things you don't know. That is Tn. You don't know what is a, you don't know what is n, you don't know, and what is d, you don't know. If you know any of these 3 things, you can find the 4th one. Right now, in that information, I know this, I know this, I know this, right? I'm looking for T4. So that becomes 4, that becomes 11, this is 1.5. That's it. So instead, T4 is like 11 plus 3 or 4 minus 1 times 1.5. So it goes like 11 plus 4 minus 1 is 3 times 1.5. It is 11 plus 4.5 is like 15.5. So we did the same problem in 3 different ways, isn't it? We can use a general formula, we can use this formula, or we can use that the next term can be found by if you know what is the previous term and common difference. Any of these is fine.